Good morning and welcome to Life's Dream number 108. And here's Corky.
108. Here's Corky and Holly. So this is special to me, this story time. This is a friend of mine who was a music artist on Elektra Records. That's all I'm going to say because I don't want to spoil the story. So here we are. Story time. Gerber's Babies.
Gerber, baby.
Gerber Babies. So we should tell people how we met and where we met. This is like amazing.
It is amazing. It's been amazing every time we get together. You know, it's the most amazing thing is that we really actually have not spent that much time together. But I feel this deep connection to you that goes beyond time.
It's true, and it has to be that.
I feel like we're from the same family, like we're you know, I really feel like we have all that history, you and I, and we don't, but maybe we do.
Well, we do, because there was a moment in history, in probably 1963, would you say, or earlier?
Oh, when we met in 66, I believe.
That late?
Yeah, 65, maybe 65.
Or 64?
No, 65.
Okay, yeah, it might have been 65 because I think the Vanguard record was we were just about to be signed by Vanguard.
Yeah, well, we met in 65 or 66, I'm not sure.
Well, no.
Because I think I graduated high school in 65 and then I started going to Roosevelt University in 66.
Okay.
It must have been 66.
Brilliant. That's brilliant. So we met either I was walking down the hall at Roosevelt University.
You were, yeah.
And heard someone playing blues on the piano.
Yeah, right. And you came in.
Yeah, it was in a practice room, one of those little practice rooms,
like a closet, just big enough for a piano.
Yeah, and I walked in and we hit it off because I was learning to play the blues. You were.
Yeah. I've been playing the blues, all my life, kind of, since I was 5 years old.
So our viewers, we could tell them we met at Roosevelt University.
We did.
In a practice room.
Yeah.
Where we both were playing the piano. And
we eventually, at one point, a small passing point, we sang in the choir together.
Ah.
Also.
I sang so poorly that they told me to not even move my lips.
Boom.
Yeah. And then another synchronicity is we both became, well, I was from in high school, really close friends with Dan Glicken.
Yeah.
And you ended up becoming, and it's totally independently.
Danny and I became really, really close friends in university, when I was in university. That's when I met him.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's another thing. And then when we met shortly thereafter, I ended up being signed by Vanguard Records.
Yeah, and I was signed and then I was signed with Elektra Records after that with my group, right? And we made the group Rhinoceros.
Yeah. Alan is Rhinoceros.
Well, I was a part of it. I certainly was part of it.
Yeah. And then I think you did something with with Dylan, something to do with Dylan?
Yeah, I played on the Rolling Thunder Review with Dylan too.
Yeah.
It was really a coincidence that we were both very close friends with Danny Glicken. It had nothing to do with either one of us, together.
And I talk about Danny, and Danny ended up moving literally around the corner, 30 seconds from here.
Yeah.
And then Danny just, unfortunately, he and his wife got caught up in conspiracy theories, which People should know that conspiracy theories kill.
Well, it certainly did in their case. They're both gone.
Yeah, unbelievable. And he was such a brilliant,
He
wonderful,
was, and Kathy too was really brilliant.
amazing people, wonderful people, and they got caught up in the conspiracy theories.
I know.
Boom,
I know.
they're gone. They're
And
gone.
it's
Boom.
hard to believe that people of that caliber, intellectual caliber, would get caught up in these conspiracy theories where there really was not that much actual rock bottom proof of these things existing.
Yeah, well, some of them were like, if I confronted them, either one of them, and even Danny with the science, he would yell at me. He'd get really upset.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's real, it's real. And he'd get.
I didn't even go. I never went there.
Oh, yeah,
I got into that. I did not go there with them. I just nodded and changed the subject.
But he used to come, he was getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And he used to come over, walk over to my back porch, every like couple days and just walk over and, and want to spend some time with us and Kathy. And, so they really maintained an intense, serious friendship, but they were really like on Mars.
I know.
And it killed them.
I noticed it even more because I did not live in Chicago anymore. And when I would come back to visit and see, every time I would see them, they were further and further away.
Exactly. So tell us when you moved and all that.
When I moved,
Chicago.
Right. I really left Chicago after Roosevelt University, when I met Paul Rothchild, the producer, the producer of The Doors, the producer of Paul Butterfield's East Meets West,
Electric Records,
Janis Joplin's Pearl, and Electro Records. And I met him in New York, and he said, I want to produce you. He said, I want to produce you either as a solo artist or we're putting together this super group, whatever you want to do. He said, I want to produce you. And I was, it was very neat.
And I could understand why he would say that.
I'll tell you the story. Let me tell
you. Yeah, please.
The story is too much, man.
Okay.
I had a girlfriend, my first girlfriend in Chicago, from Chicago, my first real girlfriend. And her name was Katie Maloney. And she went to NYU. And I was going to visit her. I was going to New York to visit her there. And she was and I got there, and the next morning, the morning I woke up, she told me to bring my guitar too. And the next morning I woke up, she said, I have an interview with you with this producer, Paul Rothchild. And she said, this person she knows that writes for Variety magazine, she told him about me, she said how wonderful I was, yada, yada, yada. And then he really got into it. She was very convincing. And he got into it. And then he called her back the next day and said, well, listen, he said, Paul Rothchild is a good friend of mine. And he said, he'd better be really good because I just got him an interview with him the day after he gets there. And so I went to Electro Records. I went to the Electro Records building in New York. And I meet Paul. I meet all these people. And this was in 1967, 66, 67. And I meet Paul, and I meet all these people, these were business people, record executives. And I was blown away. They all had long hair and, they were all smoking dope. They were all, it was, I had never seen that before. And so before I even played it, I sat with Paul, like I'm sitting almost with you, and we talked and talked. And before I even played a song, we talked for about 40 minutes before I even played a song, and we were smoking this blonde Lebanese hash and talking. We smoked so much. And and then he said, hey, why don't you play me a few songs? So I started playing him songs. He had a piano there, and I had my guitar. And he was just loving it. And he kept bringing people in to hear it and keep bringing all kinds of people going, oh, you got to play this song, you got to play that. And it was incredible. And then after this went on and on, we just kept smoking this blonde Lebanese hash. And finally he said, listen, that's when he said, I want to produce you. Either
when people hear you, then they'll understand all this.
Well, he said, I want to produce you. And I was so ripped. I wasn't sure if I was awake or dreaming. And I said, well, that's great. And he just told me about the possibilities with the band or as a solo. And I told him I was in school and I'd really, it was the time of the Vietnam War, of course, and I had a 2S deferment. So that was a pretty good thing to have at that time. And it was a decision I eventually had to make. Was I going to quit school, lose my 2S deferment, and go to Los Angeles and do this thing? And that's what I did. That's what I finally did. But it was really a trip. It was quite a bunch of circumstances just falling into place,
So what was the first recording?
It was the Rhinoceros album, the first Rhinoceros album, the one with the big jeweled rhinoceros on the cover. Gene Saffron did the cover. It was second for the cover of the year, second runner-up for cover of the year. This was actually, we recorded the album in 67, so this was 68.
Right.
But it was very cool. The whole thing, I could tell stories about going to Los Angeles and discovering another world.
Yeah.
It was very cool. I certainly learned a lot, I'll say. I learned more living in that situation in Los Angeles and playing with these incredible musicians from Rhinoceros than I ever learned in school.
And I'm going to talk about Paul, and because he was a famous, very, very famous, top of the line, music business guy, right? Like
he was my roommate. I lived with him for a while.
Wow.
We lived in the same house on Ridpath.
Wow.
On Laurel Canyon. We lived in Laurel Canyon, all of us. Wow. And I lived with him, and at one point, Mike Bloomfield lived with us. And at another point, Danny Kuchmeyer lived with us. Remember Danny Kuchmeyer from The Flying Machine, the group, where James Taylor came from.
Oh, right.
He was the guitar player for them.
Who else did you live with there?
Oh, man. When I lived in Laurel Canyon, who was my neighbors? Joni Mitchell was my neighbor. Neil Young was my neighbor. Stephen Stills. David Crosby. And Palmer, Bruce Palmer. He was really a great guy. He was the bass player for the Buffalo Springfield.
Ah. Did you get to know Joni?
I went to her house once.
Yeah.
I just really met her once. And then I saw her again on the Rolling Thunder Review. And when I was in LA with the guys, we were putting together Rhinoceros, Leonard Cohen was thinking of signing with Elektra Records, and we played on his demos.
Wow.
That's when I first met Leonard.
Wow.
And then in Montreal, that's where Leonard lived, and so I saw him after that. Worked on another project with him, but I first met him. We were his band. Great. And he was so impressed with the music. The guys in Rhinoceros were really great players, and he was so impressed with the guys, and he was saying, I'm so fortunate. I've never thought to have people like you playing on my recordings. Thank you so much. You're good. So
Yeah, isn't that great?
He was really nice, Leonard.
Yeah,
great guy.
So you moved to Canada.
Well, eventually, yes. Eventually, I did move to Canada, and it was it was it was a it was very it was an absurd turn of events. The fact that I was ready to not go to because I did eventually get called. I lost my 2S deferment, for Vietnam, and I eventually got called for the Army, and I was even thinking, there was no way I was going to go to Vietnam, and I was thinking I'll even move to Canada if I have to. And I didn't have to. I got out in other ways. I was out, and but eventually, I ended up moving to Canada anyway. I ended up moving to Canada. I moved to Montreal, and I started playing all over Quebec, and then I've been living in Val David, as they call it here. And it's about an hour north of Montreal. It's in the mountains. It's so beautiful where we live. And I've been living here for over 30 years.
Wow.
Who would think that a Chicago boy, I've lived in New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, San Francisco, would end up being in Val David. That's the place I've lived the longest in my life.
Well, the interesting thing is that there we were, you and I, in this practice room closet. Right. With two pianos or one piano playing.
One piano, but we were both playing it.
Yeah, we were both playing. And then right from there, boom, you're signed to
Elektra Records.
Elektra Records. I'm signed to Vanguard. And we got these careers in the music business. Like while we're still in school.
Yeah.
My Vanguard record was released while I was still going to Roosevelt University.
Cool. I had to leave.
Yeah. And, that's when I, anyway, everyone knows that story. So
I didn't listen to the voice that said, stay in school. I didn't listen to that voice.
Well, Jim and I, by the time, right around when the record came out and we were still in school, we just stopped going. We were still registered for all the classes.
Yeah.
And we got grades, even though we never showed up.
Yeah. That's me. I didn't know what to do. I was a little scared about the draft, of course, about Vietnam. And I was predicted. And I spoke to my professors, I spoke to Gans, to Felix Gans.
Felix Gans.
And I spoke to
Ralph Dodds.
Yeah, to Dodds. And what was his Dorfman, and Saul Dorfman was my piano professor. He was just he was my piano teacher before I went to university. So, that's how I got to, one reason I went to Roosevelt. Yeah. Anyway, and I spoke to all of them and I said, what do you think I should do? What do you think I should? And all of them, even Gans, everybody, they said, you should, follow your dream. They said, you writing your own, I can see when you play me one of your songs and when you're playing, I can see that that's your dream. And they all told me to go do that, take a chance.
Do something, you just do something on the violin, you could sing and play or, whatever you feel like it right now. So the viewers will, our cousins will get something, but do it so they could see the violin.
Okay, well, how's this look up?
Yeah. And they could see you. So back off a little. Yeah, so they could see them. Yeah, there you go.
Is this good?
Yeah.
I got a bird to whistle. Mama got a bird, baby got a bird can sing. Mama got a bird, baby got a bird can sing. Well, my sweet cold love, it sure don't mean a natural thing. I was born to love you, honey, before I call, baby, before I call your name. Honey, before I call, baby, before I call your name. I won't trade your love for money. But darling, you're my one horse game. mercy, have mercy on me. I said, honey, I love, baby, I love you so. Honey, I love, baby, I love you so. I got a rainbow on my soul. It shine like silver, look just like Klondike gold. Yeah. Mama got a bird, baby got a bird can sing. I said, Mama got a bird, baby got a bird can sing. But I'm a sweet Corina. It sure don't mean a natural thing. But I'm a sweet Corina. It just don't mean it don't mean a natural thing. My sweet Corina. Come on, give me that harmonica. Go like this. Yeah.
So that's Alan. You got to understand, he had no idea what he was going to do. He probably never did that before in his life.
I never even played the violin before.
Yeah, and, yeah. He just never.
Yeah. I never met Corky before.
Yeah. So that's Alan just being Alan, not playing like a tune of his or anything like that, but just picking up the violin and making it happen. He's a piano player mostly, you know, but he's mostly a violin player. And you even play some harmonica and
I play a lot of guitar too.
Yeah, a lot of guitar, yeah.
Button accordion.
And accordion, that's right. That's right. And we did one gig together. Oh, no. You sat in with me at Orphans one time.
We did 3 gigs together.
Okay.
We did one big one. One of your shows, I got up and did a tune with you.
Oh, great.
Theater. It was in a theater.
Uh-huh.
And then we did these house concerts that I organized in Chicago. I came back to Chicago. That was really fun.
Just one, though.
Oh, yeah, we just did one. That's right. Yeah. I did that house concert, though, before with my son, Eli, the guitar player.
Yeah, yeah.
That was really fun.
And we're going to show a clip of you and your family.
Oh, yeah, me, a clip from my last CD, Somewhere in Between.
Okay.
And this one is called Four Riders, and it's with my son playing guitar and my daughter singing with me.
A storm upon
They did the whole album with me. They did the album before with me also, and this new one that I'm doing, they're going to be on it too.
Great.
I'm co-producing it with my son Eli too.
Great. And we always have to come up with titles for these little, what we call it Life's Dream, LIFE''S.
I've seen
R-E-A-M, Life's Dream.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to call this one Gerber's Babies.
Gerber and his babies.
Gerber Babies.
Gerber babies. We're all babies. That's right. Gerber babies. Yeah, I sent you the link to 2 videos.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And one of them is one. It's really neat. You should check. That's one with the slide guitar that I did right here in my living room. Here's a picture of one of my old buddies from Chicago with me.
Oh yeah, yeah, I know that person. That's Alan Gerber.
That's a really nice picture of the 2 of us.
Yeah,
it's really something.
A love affair, man.
It's really something. It's really cool.
Yeah. So this is Alan Gerber.
It's great to be able to hang out with you for these moments. I'm looking forward to when I can come back to Chicago, and play. We can do some shows live. I would love that. Great to talk to you, buddy.
Bye, Alan.
Bye. See ya.
Thank you so much for joining us, and please scoot on over to the Zoom or Zoom on over, and you can get all the information for the Zoom at corkymusic.com/Zoom. stream.
And I think Alan may be able to join us. Maybe
Yeah.
Alan and his wife or whoever is there, whatever Gerber babies are there, might join us. Who knows?
Yep.
But let's see.
Yeah, I think they're going to be there, zooming in from Canada, in fact.
They're in Canada,
So-
of course. I think you got that.
All right. So we'll
Okay.
see you on the Zoom.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.